Hey everyone, I'm Nick, and this is my supercharged Mercedes C-Class. Last week we worked on the HVAC system because there was a really annoying clicking sound. We were able to figure out that one of the electric motors in the HVAC system had failed due to a stripped gear, and we were able to remove it. This week I've got the new motor, so we're going to put it in and put everything back together. And then at the end of the video, I have a little surprise too. So let's get to it. So we're back, and I have received a new old stock Denso replacement part. Now it came with a different arm, but compatibility wise it's the same. You just pull the arm off and we're going to put on the one that belongs for this car. And yeah, you can see this was made in 05 and it's supposed to be brand new. You can also find these used on eBay and stuff like that, or you can go to a junkyard and try to grab a couple out of a car. It was actually used in a bunch of cars, interestingly enough, till 2011. And they're all the A203 part number. Anyway, let's figure out which arm goes on this, and we'll start working on getting this in place. So as you can see, our arm here has little cutouts, a little raised part here, so we're gonna have to get the one that matches because we're putting in the metal ones. Which one it is? Oh, it says L, so it's gonna be the L one because packet 2 has left and right. So if you look here, they're actually almost identical, but the angle right here of the hex opening is a little different. On the left, it angles towards this direction, and on the right, it angles in the other. So you can kind of tell here. So we're taking the L piece, and we're gonna put that in place. You see right here, that hexagonal opening is slightly off axis towards the right. So now we have the actuator, we're gonna slot this on. I gotta figure out what angle.
The motor is a little hard to turn when it's off, but we need to get the arm in just about the right position before we put the assembly in, which is what I'm figuring out here.
I can kind of see where it goes. Can't reach in to put it in, so I have to actually have it on there and see if I can align it. I think it's gonna be slightly off this way. That should work. Wow, how did I get this out? Oh, I see, okay. I think you can see back there maybe. Yep. I think the arm, the metal arm or the plastic arm, this little nub right here needs to go into that circle over there. See back there. So it is a tight fit. We gotta figure out how to do this. And I want to point out the way we're gonna align it is that this lever here can move up and down, and we'll have to position it so that it's in the slot on the new arm. Come on, Mercedes, why'd you make it like this? All right, let me see if I can place this in there first, and then see if we can slot the actuator itself in. I have the arm in place there. Now let's see if I can slot the actuator in place and adjust the arm so that it'll fit. Oh yeah, that is gonna be, what? Now it's too high, is it? The issue is the thickness of the whole thing is a little too big. Okay, maybe I can hook it on while it's in here instead of out there. Okay, that's not working. How the hell did I get this out? How do I get this in? So I was able to move it down here by pulling this little guide, like wire guide out, and I was able to slot it down here, and hopefully I can move it up and into position now. Now I have to move it up, get that piece in there, maybe. I've got the arm into the slot. Now I just have to put the other end of the pivot in place. So in here, there is a nut on a stud. So right in there, I've loosened it on its stud, and hopefully that'll allow the plastic panel back there to shift back just enough for me to pop that in place. Let's see if that works. Come on. Nope. No luck. All right, after a little bit of struggling, looks like it's in place and I can start putting the screws in. So we're gonna do like last time, where I look through here to get that top screw, and then we'll do that one and the other one right there. With the goal of getting this in as easily as possible, I'm going to put a little bit of anti-seize on the screw that's the hardest to put in. Hopefully that'll allow it to slide in a little better. Okay, I'm actually gonna try to put the bottom one in first. It'll help keep things aligned a little better, I think. Okay, those are started. Hopefully that'll help the top one stay in place. I'm gonna try to tighten the bottom one so it actually catches better.
I eventually got the top screw to catch, and then I was able to use an offset screwdriver to tighten it up.
Okay, now it's time to finish tightening these up. That's all in, so let's see what we could do now is test it. Gotta plug it in. Plugged in. Let's get our key in here. No clicking! And it cycled. Okay, let's see here. We can go to auto. We'll put it on low. Yeah. Now if I go to just our feet here, adjust the head. Okay, that's not it then. Maybe it's in defrost. Yep, there it goes. It's doing a thing. Okay. Turn off defrost and boom. Okay. That's cool. Awesome. It's fixed. Let me see. Still feels sturdy in there. Looks like the screws are tight enough. Awesome. That is so good. Nice and quiet. So I think what this does is it will close off any air from going to the bottom part or the feet and help divert it up towards the top. Something like that.
Now it's time to put everything else back together.
Undo this.
Put the HVAC ducts back in.
Those two vents go behind this plastic paneling and snap in. Don't want to forget them, otherwise your rear air won't work. You probably didn't take this side off. It wasn't necessary. I did, thinking I could get this out, but to get this out, you have to remove the upper part of the dash. So I can get this back in. And before I forget, I'm going to put this panel, this foam back in. Just a piece of sound deadening. All right, and before I forget, I'm going to tighten this back up. Now I've got, well, if you took these out, there's 4 screws there. Okay, now let's get this lower dash panel here back in place. Now, first thing we're going to do is kind of get in place and get this in place. But we have to make sure we connect the parking brake too. So the parking brake, we've got this handle here. Well, I guess this way. And we're going to have to pop that cable back in here. And it also goes through this. That. Oops. I'm probably gonna have to do that when it's a little closer to being in place. But right here, we're gonna grab this, try to line it up. So this goes in kind of vertically here. In fact, since it's there, we can put this ring back on it. Actually, let me make sure it doesn't fit in the other way. Yeah, it only fits one way. Always good to double check. Snug it up. Bring it up here. You can see this opening here is for the screw and this bottom one is for this peg. And we also have to slide it up because there's 2 pins, one here and here. Yeah, you can see one right here and one right here. Okay. There we go. Now we have to get this in. So you have to pull that forward and also get that wire over and into that slot. Uh-oh. Okay. Okay, there we go. So what you want to do is you can pull the handle back to hook it in, and then pull the sleeve back and pop the sleeve into there. It's in. Now I can snap in this side right here. Snap it all back into place. There we go. If the screws are a little hard to turn, you can back it off until it drops in and you can get it back into the original grooves. Over here, you want to make sure this is in the right position. Mine was a little low, but it got in. Now we can put in those 2 screws and that one. This is these screws, a little thinner with the washer, still T20s. And then we gotta do the 2 on the bottom. There's gonna be one back here and one right here. So there's, some of them are for this panel and this is just for that. So if you put this in place, you can look at which one's available. And it's this one. If you have trouble with that screw, it might be because it screws into here, so you might have to shift this a little bit, and you can push on that bar as well. And probably the same on the other side. I guess we can pop this one in, back in place. While we're here, might as well. Now we can do our light switch module. Remember there's a screw on the bottom here. Oh right, probably gonna wanna connect this first. The connector here. It'll only fit in one way. Snap it on, use the little cam lock thing here. Snap it in, and then we can push it in. That's in. And now we just have to put the screw back in, so we have to pull this. I have the car chocked, because it's a manual, because pulling this back releases the parking brake. So I just need to feel for that. You gotta make sure it's in all the way. Otherwise the handle will get stuck on the nut, or the bolt, or the screw. There we go. With that, we're actually done here. We could put that panel back on. Pop this in. There's like a hook right here. That's on. And that is the whole driver's side in. The parking brake on. Now we can move to the middle. Okay, so in here I have a USB cable to plug in. That's from my extension into the center console. So now I have to just lower this back down. Okay, so we have to bring that down. See these couple pins here, have to realign in there. Plus the 2 metal ones in these lower dash pieces. So if you have any extra wires, you want to make sure they're out of the way and not jamming on the underside of this. That is in. Got our T40 for those two big Torx bits that lock the center console to the lower dash parts. Those will just tighten and they will grab those metal pins in there. You'll see it pull this together and then it stops. That's it. Now we have the two T20s right here, the inner ones that lock the center console to this plastic frame. Now since we put the two Torx bits in here, now we have to put these covers back in. Yeah, it's that. So the long thin piece goes in and towards the front, and it kind of just hooks under this panel. There we go. All right, now we can put in the two silver bolts into here. And the short spiky ones go in the box here in the back. That is nice and secure, very good. All right, now I can connect the radio back in, I believe, which is gonna be all the connectors there. If you have the stock one, it's pretty simple. Okay, so now I have to connect all these back in. Just make sure I'm not missing any connectors. No. I don't want to button this up before testing it. Okay. Okay. This fits on the left side. There's still some stuff jamming on the right a little bit. Okay, that's good. Get these in. Nice and secure. Put our top panel back in. There's 3 different connectors here. I only have one. It goes into the middle. It'll only fit into the one that matches. Go. Now we can put in the HVAC module back in. Now, if you remember, there's 2 screws on the bottom there. See there and right there. It's locked in. Awesome. Now we can put the ashtray in. Now for me, I have an opening here for a USB cable because of my radio install. I also have the power plug to plug in. These little tabs here snap in. Make sure those are in there. That's good. Now we can slot this back into place. At the back, you got to make sure it slots into the right place, which is right between the cup holder, like right above the cup holder, a little back. My cup holder's having issues recently, but it just has to slot in there. Say like right under this. Go, drop it down, pop it in. That is the bottom done. We have our 2 screws that are supposed to be captive on our vent right here. Again, this one's broken. There's supposed to be little catches here that grab up here, and the little screws are supposed to be captive. Just pop that in. Put the bezel on, which is also not supposed to come off. There we go. That's back in. And that that is everything back together. All right. So that's the job done. I won't lie, it's pretty frustrating working in there because it is very close to one of the dash supports, but I was able to make it work. If you know of any other way that would be easier to do it, or you know what the offset torque screwdriver from Mercedes is, let me know down in the comments because I'm sure that would help a lot of people. The only other option I can think of, if that's too tight, is to take the dash even further apart and remove the HVAC module itself and working on it outside the car. So, you know, that's another option, I guess. So some of you may be wondering why I put so much effort into this C-Class. Well, for one, it's a fun car, and supercharged manual rear-wheel drive is not that common anymore. But this also has over 180,000 miles, and the C-Class is, you know, some people call it the crap class and say Mercedes doesn't care about it, but I don't think that's true. I mean, for one, recently Mercedes called and said, hey, can you bring it in? We need to put a new airbag in it for a recall. And we got a brand new airbag module in the steering wheel. And another thing, while we brought it to the dealership for that, was we got it looked at, and not too long later, we got a nice box in the mail. So let me show you what's in here. So this is some proof that Mercedes cares about these cars. This is one of their high mileage awards that you can get for your cars at certain mileages. So this is the 250,000 kilometer badge, which comes with a nice mounting hardware and a certificate, a nice high mileage award. And also comes with a little letter. So this car is really a high mileage hero. You know, it's survived all this way. It's actually in quite good shape, and you know, we've done a fair amount of work to it, but it is great to drive. Now let's get this badge on the grill because this car's earned it, and so have we. All right, let's see. This height, or we'll do this for now.
The studs on the badge are a little too close to the power steering cooler for my comfort, so I ended up moving it inward, but I'm probably going to cut the studs down and put it back towards the outside of the grille. Let me know what you think.
So that wraps up the major projects on this car. You might see it once in a while on the channel, but mostly it's just going to get driven. If you enjoyed this video and the rebuild series, don't forget to leave a like, and if you think it was worth it keeping this car on the road, let me know down in the comments. If you want to see more content like this, be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.